Jonathan was back. He was training with the group today, so he'll be available for Sunday. Victor trained with the group for the majority of today. Our anticipation is he'll be available for Sunday unless something changes tomorrow, if he has a reaction to today, but we don't suspect that would be the case. Javier is unlikely. Still just has to pass some more work, really, do more on the field. He hasn't done much on the field yet, so he'll be unlikely for Sunday. Am I forgetting anyone that you mentioned?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
If I could follow up, the game against Vancouver coming up this weekend, obviously you guys want 9 points. Obviously that's something looking at trying to get accomplished here. But how important is the game in terms of, one, the outside chance you guys could take over first place in the Western Conference, and looking at August with 4 of 6 home games, or 4 of 6 games at home, how important is this to sort of keep that momentum rolling?
Yeah, I think it's important. I think for me, one of the things important for Sunday is performance. Just kind of us playing. We're going to be adding some guys back into the group. We're coming back from being away from the group for a while. We're starting to get, some of our pairings, some guys that we're expecting to play together, some of our relationships on the field that we want to see. We'll have some of those guys available maybe for the first time this season. So the result is definitely important in terms of the table, in terms of what we're trying to accomplish. But also, it's just the group coming together now, and it's the first game of many that are in front of us, where hopefully we have a larger selection of the guys that we think are going to play the majority of our minutes, both on the bench both on the starting lineup and the guys that we have to choose from coming off the bench. We have more of our group coming together so that we start the second half of this season with just more options, more guys who are starting to play together, and their relationships on the field can start to develop again. So that, for me, is an important part of this week, is to start that momentum going forward. And obviously results are a product of the better we do with that, and the better we handle the game and the better we perform, the better chance we have of winning the game. So I'm focusing a little bit on that side of it, and understanding that the result is also important, because of we're trying to jump to the first spot if we can, but other results have to happen for us, but we can do our part for sure.
Thanks, Greg.
Yep, no problem.
Next we'll go to Damien Calhoun.
Hey, Greg.
Hey,
just want to get your thoughts on how you spent Dejan and also Nico. How do you see these guys fitting in, and what's the status of Dejan's arrival and availability?
Okay. Yeah, Dejan he's here. So he's getting himself ready for Sunday. I don't know. I haven't spoken to anyone since training is finished to see if we've been able to get his visa set up yet. He had a visitor's visa already, so he was able to get here, which is sped up a process that has been incredibly slow for us during the course of this year. But because he already had a visitor's visa, he was able to get in the country and has been for a number of days now. So now it's just about that visa transitioning over into a P1, and hopefully that process can happen really fast. But I don't know yet if that's going to be enough for Sunday. We're hoping, but as the time ticks and we don't have confirmation, at least I don't, then it gets more difficult. As for Nico, he's Finnish American. He was born in the U.S. and grew up until he was 16, 17 at least in the U.S. And so with that American citizenship passport, he'll be able to come immediately. I think he'll be on a plane tomorrow, and he'll be available immediately. We won't play him on Sunday, but we will at least have him here in training, so we won't again have these long visa holdups that we had earlier in the season. Both of these guys will be ready to go, if not obviously this weekend, then for sure by next week.
And what do you like about, I pronounce it
Dejan? Just Dejan, yeah, I think it's Dejan. He's a finisher, to be pretty frank, he's got a lot of similar qualities to Javier. Like, he's a pure goal scorer. He's thinking about his final runs, getting in the box. He's tenacious in getting on the end of things. He can finish with his left foot, his right foot, with his head. We went back and looked at. He had 20 18 goals in league play in Austria, which is a challenging league, and he also had a couple in UEFA League over the course of this year. He's now into the Serbian full national team. He's a young man with huge potential and also had huge promise that, for me, as I watched him, I think the only reason we really have an opportunity to bring him is because COVID really kind of put the brakes, if you will, a little bit on his career. He went from where he was, Red Star, to I believe Frankfurt as a really young player, 18, 19 years old. It's very difficult to break into Frankfurt as a really young guy. So went on loan to Anderlecht. 6 games into that, the whole league shuts down because of COVID pretty quickly. So he misses that whole season as a young player, which is an important one. Comes back. He's in no different position at Frankfurt than he was when he left on loan, and decided it was better for him to go on loan and play as much as possible versus stay at Frankfurt and maybe play a little bit. So he goes to Austria, and he absolutely crushes it in Austria. He comes back, and Frankfurt buys Borre for $17 million, as a striker. So now he's a young kid a young player who needs to keep scoring goals in a club that doesn't really have a clear pathway for him to play, and really became an opportunity for us. He had other options. Again, he could have gone and played in the French First Division, and he chose us. We have a mutual friend in a way from the Chicago Fire who coached him as a young player, and obviously when I was at Toronto, we played against Chicago, it felt like every other week, and became very respectful friends with some of the guys in Chicago who, and the assistant coach who had known Dejan as a young man, and he kind of connected us together, and saying, this is a great opportunity for you, Dejan, to go work at a club with a staff that's really going to help you develop and to progress in a league that is very challenging and will demand of you. And he told us that Dejan was a spectacular young man who had a very, very clear vision for what he wanted to do in his career, and was very focused and matched all the characteristics. We had seen him, and then this was kind of the final step. When you get a person like that who knows both sides, who can really bring you together, that helps to push things across the line. And so we're grateful for his help. But he's here now, and we're excited to get him going. And he's going to learn. He's going to learn a lot from Javier, and also support Javier. At times we'll play with them together. At times they'll support each other, and we're looking forward to having another great young player on our roster to help us build this club.
Thanks.
Next, we'll go to Tom Bogert.
Hey, Greg, thanks for taking the time.
Tom.
Kind of following up pretty directly to what you were just saying. How can Dejan and Javier kind of complement each other? And then how much do you envision playing, say, with two forwards so they can play together? Or, as you said, is it going to be a little bit more of the one striker system?
Well, I think it gives us a lot of flexibility to play with two. And the one thing I would say is both of them are very aware strikers. Obviously, Dejan played in a two-striker system last year at when he was on loan in Austria. So he's used to playing with a second striker. He's also used to playing with a single striker prior to that, and so he's comfortable. A lot of times for me, when you get two strikers playing together, it's just the importance of them being aware of each other and their movements, being able to coordinate their movements off each other. And both of these guys have experience playing in two strikers. Both of them are very clever and smart movers off the ball. It's a relationship that we'll have to continue to invest in to see what our best look is as we continue moving forward. It's also a possibility that obviously we have so many games coming up on so many of these games are just on top of each other. That we have ability to sometimes play one, rest one, adapt, and be able to continue to put a goal scorer on the field in the forward position. So it gives us options. I'll never sit here and tell you we're going to go one way or the other. We're going to see what's best for us and how our pieces fit together as we move forward, understanding that we have a lot of games in short blocks, that we need two people in every position ready to step in and help us to move through this time period.
Next, we'll go to Alexander Stojanovic.
Hi guys, hello to everyone. I don't know, can you hear me at the moment?
Yes, yeah, we hear you. Great.
best regards from Serbia. Congratulations to Dejan and to LA Galaxy, the club which is very well known here in Serbia. Coach, I just wanted to ask you one question. What do you think? Is it difficult to adapt for a guy from European kind of football to play in MLS? Do you see some challenges for Dejan in that term?
You know, the things that I think are difficult sometimes for players, depending on their skill sets and their physicality. He's got a nice build. He's got solid base to him. He's a strong kid. I think he's used to a physical type of game. I think, what you usually see with players coming over is, the league can be a little bit more physical at times. Referees might allow things to go. Players in Europe might stay in their protective positions and choose their priorities wisely, whereas sometimes in the MLS, a defender is just going to come tight no matter what. And so you have to be ready to physically manage that situation, play quick, and or be strong on the ball for him. So those are things just that will he'll have to get used to. Sometimes when you look at the game, and I know he watched the game the other night, you'll look from above and say, oh, there's a lot of space out there. But that space can close fast because, again, defenders will just step out and press you in certain areas. And so I think some of it's for him just to come and to feel it and to be in the middle of it. And I think he'll be able to adapt because he's clever and he's very aware of his surroundings. He's got a great presence and knowledge of sort of where pressure's coming from, what he's dealing with. We can see that already. And then the other part of it's just getting used to the travel, the length of travel, the different environments that you play in, from altitude to playing on turf to playing at 100 degrees. Whatever those different sort of variables are, it's getting used to those. But I think from a football perspective purely, I think he'll find his way pretty quickly, just because I think the game for him, he plays it up here first before he plays it any other way. And I think aware players have the best chance of adapting quickly into any situation, but for sure into our league. So I suspect that he'll find his way pretty quickly. And he's got a good supporting cast around him that will help him to find good chances. I know he's excited. I think he feels like he has the opportunity to score goals because the makeup of our team makes sense for him and for our strikers. So he's excited about that too.
Thank you.
Yep.
Time for a couple more questions. Next, we'll go to Larry Morgan.
Hey, Coach, thanks for speaking with us.
Hey, Larry.
Wearing the red shirt wasn't planned, but they do look good.
Very nice.
I have two questions. One, can you talk about the two new signings, how long the Galaxy has been watching these two players, and when it first became apparent that there was a real chance you could bring both of them in here? And two, we're at the halfway point of the season, with the exception of Javier. It looks like just about everybody will be available. How optimistic are you for this team to play the way you hope it will?
So first question on Dejan, we've watched him and we've known of a potential that he might be available since probably late February to early March, and to be honest, we thought it was a way outside shot. The season that he was having in Austria and the things that had to come together to even make him available actually did in the end, which obviously Frankfurt going out and buying another striker and things like that, making his pathway there a little less clear. Things that kind of came together actually came together. And so, he was somebody we were looking at because we've been looking for a striker who kind of fits in our under 22 age range, for our roster development. And there's only a few out there that and very, very few out there that match the characteristics and success that he's already had so far. Very few. And so we knew of him, and we knew that there was an outside chance. And then, late in the last few weeks, the chances started to become a reality, and we started to kind of pull things together and get it done with the support of his team on the other side, his agent, and like I said, a mutual friend that we have that helped connect us. So we've known him for a while, but the whole thing kind of came together in the last few weeks, to be fair, so with that. As for Nico, obviously he has been in the league before, so we have known of him. We got down to a point where We had one spot really left on our roster. We don't have any international spots left. I've been thinking we need a left back because we're kind of killing, unfortunately, Villafana every week. He's having to play and grind, and he's not a young kid anymore, and he's just game after game after game, he's been putting it out there. And so, for us, Danilo has been our backup guy. Danilo just really hasn't played many games over the course of the last year and a half to 2 years. He needs to... he needs to get games, but it's probably not going to be with us. He needs to go get a set of games in the second team or somewhere where he can just get his rhythm and get going again. In the meantime, we've got a team that's competing for a supporter shield. We've got a team that's trying to compete for a championship, and we need to give Jorge some rest during this time period and a chance to recover. So I felt like that was a position we needed to find a little bit of depth in. We didn't have an international spot, which meant we had to find somebody either with a green card or with some sort of American citizenship passport. So that, again, narrows your search down pretty quickly. And here's a young man who has experience in the league, who played 25 to 30 games last year, some with his country and some with QPR. They have a new coach. He wasn't in the plans for the new coach, which, again, creates an opportunity for us that we're able to see through pretty quickly here. And we're excited about it. We've got great feedback on him, and we look forward to him getting here quickly to help us out.
And the last question, with the exception of Javier, looks like everybody's going to
Yeah.
be made available. How confident or optimistic are you that the team can play like you
Yeah.
hope it will?
I'm excited just with the group we have. Again, the different characteristics of the players we have. When we started to put this roster together, we were looking to build a puzzle in which, when you put the pieces together, they really make sense, but we could also put the puzzle together in slightly different ways. Like, we could play with two forwards, we could play with one, we could play three in the back, we could play a back four. We have a lot of different variations. The way we play and with our guys is our game is based off of a set of principles that never change. Those will always stay the same, and our shape may change or may vary from game to game based on how we think we can give ourselves the best advantage. And we have a group that has a lot of flexibility with a lot of great characteristics that fit together for this league. We have guys who can threaten the space behind opposition, as you've seen with Sam and Kevin and the players that we have that are getting behind. We've got now two strikers who I think are proven goal scorers. I know Dejan hasn't done it yet, but he is a proven goal scorer. Obviously, Javier has done that for us this year in spades when he's been out there, and now getting him healthy. We've got playmakers in Victor, and we have obviously Efra and Seba. We've got guys who play between the lines. Jonah, we can push a little higher now because we went out and got a defensive midfielder in Ryan, who's been excellent in that position, and Adam is getting better. And so we've got runners on our right back and a runner on our left back with Nico coming in, and we've got good solid veterans. And you can name our pieces. We're really excited about the pieces that we have, and now it's about how can we put the puzzle together on the field and get these guys enough games that the relationships can develop and the clarity can start to take way on the field. So we're excited about where we are going, and I'm very proud of the group as to where we are during the process of building this team and putting it together. We've gotten great results in different ways. Sometimes we've had great moments in performance. Sometimes we've had great character moments where we had to come away with wins. Sometimes it's just a good old-fashioned professional night and getting something done. But this group has done a fantastic job to put us in the position we are now. And now the second half of the season, it's going to be about detail. It's going to be about our group coming together and all of our pieces now fitting together to perform at the highest level we can. And that will give us a chance in the end. That's the goal.